there was one of these organised riots or counter protests.
Yeah.
With all the professionally printed prints and all happening in London.
With all the white liberal women.
With white liberal women, and then actually this is what's kind of interesting here. So whilst this is happening, there are two white women, middle-aged women,
yeah,
standing next to this character.
Yeah.
One is wearing an Amnesty International white vest.
So this is Ricky Jones, the Labour councillor.
Ricky Jones, Labour councillor. At the time when this was published, this first article talking about it, we didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And another woman is wearing. So what is bizarre about these counter protests? They are surrounded by people in high vis vests. Have you seen this?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. So it's kind of, those have obviously been handed out by the Stand Up to Racism people or whatever. The social.
They, to have demonstrations and get permission off the police and do it all legal, you have to have so many stewards. So these organisations have people who come all the time, and you can be a steward. Stay on the outside, wear your high-vis, and that's what most protests do. They have people with high-vis jackets on, they're called stewards. So some of them will be stewards.
And these stewards are all quite sinister, because I've seen videos where they move towards people.
Yeah.
If there's somebody filming it,
they're the true believers.
Yeah, all these guys in high vis head towards and the guys are saying, "What are you doing?" Yeah. And I just said, "I'm just wondering what are you doing?" Yeah. It's just, "I'm filming." And why are you following me? Yeah. "Oh, I'm just walking." And it's like the kind of sinister kind of Gestapo with the bizarre little high vis. Anyway, so there's this one with the Amnesty, and there's a woman with a high vis vest who's part of the organisation. Yeah. They hand the microphone to this guy. I don't know if is he Indian? I'm not sure what he is.
Not mixed race, Caribbean, mixed race Caribbean
type guy. And he starts talking about the right-wing thugs or things like that. And then he actually says during it, he called for them to have their throats cut. We should cut their throats, I think he said.
Slit their throats.
Slit their throats, that's it, yes. So
this we should slit their throats.
Yeah. So this is incitement to violence and to murder. Yeah, basically. Which any of our far right thugs would be immediately bundled to the ground, hit with a large truncheon, and then banged up for 20 years. What was quite sinister before this then escalated, which we'll talk about in a minute. So nobody knew who this character was at the time, but they said this, and it was like, what the frick? The two women were applauding this, started to applaud.
The whole crowd was applauding.
Yeah. But the two women in particular, two white middle-class women wearing the high-vis jackets, one with Amnesty International, applauded this, cheered this. Yeah. And that is what really shocked me initially. Because I'm pretty sure if I'd have been there and he'd said that, I would have kind of said, no, too much. Yeah, that's not appropriate, or whatever. But they didn't just kind of say nothing or not smile. They actually smiled and clapped.
The woman with Amnesty International coat on, how hypocritical is that?
Yes.
So Amnesty International, a charity organised to embarrass countries for the death penalty and treating people poorly. But if you want to slit the throats of white working class people in the UK...
Yeah, round of applause.
Well done. Just make sure you don't kill any brown or black people, or gay people.
Yeah.
And then the other woman clapping, I've read somewhere, this may or may not be true, she was one of the protesters for one of the reform demonstrations.
Ah, really?
So I believe she's so avid online.
They are so intertwined and mixed up and right in the heart of this. These grubby
but
people,
the councillor saying that, and everybody missed this bit, but I didn't miss it. So we need to slit all their throats. And anyway, thank you for letting me speak, and God bless everybody. He said, "God bless everybody," as he walked off. It's like, how stupid. We're good, slit everyone's throats. Yeah, God bless you all.
I know.
But again, it's a little bit like abortion.
Yeah.
As in, we're the good people. Just kill millions of babies, but we're the good people. Yeah.
But don't you think that before we move on to the character himself and what happened, don't you think that this is very, very, and I know it's a cheap shot all the time, this is very reminiscent to Nazi Germany and the Jews, isn't it? Where you get a crowd of people together, you create an enemy, which now is the far right thugs, and those enemies become inhuman. They're inhuman. Their lives don't matter. They don't matter, and normal people start to applaud torturing, killing, and destroying these people. And that's what that was to me.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was quite chilling.
It was. I don't think I've heard anything like that from the UK. I've definitely not heard a politician ever say anything like that, but I've not seen anything like that online ever. See, this is called the madness of crowds. So when people are in crowds, we act differently. And the more the people cheer, the more you say something and you push the boundary a little bit and they all cheer and smile, automatically, it's all subconscious. You go,
there's a feedback.
They like feedback loop. They like that. So you keep pushing and you're pushing and they keep cheering and clapping and you get caught up in the moment. I'm sure he got caught up in the moment. Very silly man, needs punishing. I don't believe for one moment he meant what he said, but he got caught up in the moment because of the madness of crowds and that feedback loop. But if that had been anybody else,
if that had been a white guy in a white in one of the white Enough is Enough marches, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's an immediate uproar about this, as there should be. Nigel Farage said the man should be. Other people said he should be arrested, quite rightly, for this. You know, this is. And Nigel Farage said this man should be arrested. If not, we know there is two-tier policing. It then transpired he was called Ricky Jones, and he was a Labour councillor.
Yeah.
He was identified very, very quickly at that point. So he actually was then arrested. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, got arrested.
He was then arrested.
Suspended from the Labour Party.
Suspended from the Labour Party. Do you know what happened next?
I would imagine he's been bailed straight away, and I would imagine he'll have a court case in 6 months' time.
Well, the answer is I don't know if he has been bailed. He may have been bailed. Probably.
I'm just presuming.
Yeah. I think what's more, again, sinister, and you start to think there's something wrong here and there's something very, very strange. He is going to be tried, but the judge who's trying him is called Judge Tan Ikram. Tan Ikram, I don't know whether he's Muslim, he looks Asian of some sort, whether he's Indian or what. But Tan Ikram famously presided over the case of the girls who were sporting paraglider images on one of the pro-Palestine marches, basically. The paragliders, for our listeners who may not know, were used to murder the 3,000 Jews on October the 11th, basically. They flew in on paragliders and guns, shooting people, basically, including over that festival. I can't remember where it was now.
They use paragliders because the Israeli air defence won't pick up a paraglider.
Well, yeah, because of the size, presumably,
tiny.
or whatever. So he presided over the paraglider and he let them off.
Yeah, slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And then it got discovered he'd been liking Free Palestine tweets and stuff.
He is now going to try this guy.
Oh, we know for a fact this Ricky Jones won't be punished the way anybody else will be punished. But he had to be arrested.
Yes.
To stop a civil war, basically.
Yeah.
There would have been riots if he hadn't. He'll get a slip on the wrist.
Yeah, but when you see that, though, don't you think somebody somewhere within the system is making decisions like that? Somebody somewhere has said, yes, arrest him, because otherwise there'll be a civil war, because if this guy doesn't get arrested, arrest him, but make sure he's tried by Tan Ikram, who we know is on our side and will let him off. Somebody somewhere has made that decision. It can't be a coincidence.
Or it could be a coincidence because lots of judges, I would say most judges, are woke fools. Look how many have let off the Extinction Rebellion protesters, smashing Barclays windows, and they get, you're trying to save the world, you can go, slap on the wrist. So many judges are weak like that. So he just might have got appointed, he may have been appointed to his court, or it might have been a setup, but it isn't like he's the only judge in the country that's woke and liberal and left-leaning.
No, but he's highly visible for that particular case, which was about pro-Palestine anti-Semitism. So
in which case, if he's that well-known, you think they'd say, well, let's not give him. Let's
give it to another woke judge.
Let's give it to the woke judge that no one's ever heard of.
So I think we should keep an eye on that case and see what happens.
Yes.
Because he should be banged up. On the basis of banging up 15-year-old kids, white kids, let's see what happens to this guy.
He was inciting a large crowd to murder people.
Yeah. I don't know what the legal, you know more about the law than I do. I don't know what the legal ramifications of that would be for somebody like that.
my understanding is incitement to violence carries the same penalty as committing that violence. So inciting murder carries the same sentence as actually murdering.
Yeah.
Up to that.
So it should be years.
If he's proven guilty and they'll take in, I mean, I'll be amazed if he does a day in jail. But technically, he could get life.
But they're arresting people for tweeting now.
I know.
So this guy, we've got visible evidence of inciting crowds on the street
Yeah.
in the middle of crowds. You think he's going to get away with it?
Yeah.
And people now.
Why is he not in court 2 days later?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a really good
Because
point.
this demonstration was about the riots.
Yeah.
So why is this not being? Why is he not rushed straight through a court straight away?
Yeah.
It's because they want to delay it and delay and delay it. Most people forget about it. Anger will diminish, and then they can get him in court. Slap on. I mean, he'll be found guilty. It has to be found guilty. But it's the punishment. What will the punishment be? He's a councillor. He works well in his community. He got caught up heat at the moment. He didn't mean what he said. He's apologised now. Do you know what? 18 months in jail, suspended for 2 years. So he'll walk out free.
But yet, you're right. Within 2 days of trying some of these guys who've been at the demonstrations for not particularly serious things.
No, and letting out proper criminals to free up the spaces. So let these 1,000 criminals leave jail early, so we can get these tweeters in, and it's mental. If you'd have told me this last year, that we're going to be letting criminals out of jail so we can get people who've commented online in jail, I'd have said, you've just gone too far now, Lindsay. You're going too far with this.
But once again, the parallels to COVID. We were arresting people, imprisoning people for not adhering to COVID, these imaginary rules, this imaginary disease. It's not an imaginary disease, viewers, but a disease that didn't have anything like the danger that they protested. It's the same thing, isn't it? Yeah. The parallels to COVID, for me, are enormous. You get in prison for doing trivial things. Other people don't get in prison for doing like the Partygate thing or whatever. It's just, it's constant.
It's because COVID and now with the Keir Starmer government, they have thrown everything behind it. So same with COVID. So Boris Johnson couldn't admit, turns out we made a mistake. They had to double down because he knew, just like Starmer knows, if we admit our mistake here and try to change, it's the end of my government. It's the end of my career. And I'm not willing to have my career ended. I would rather double down, bankrupt the country, jail people, attack white working class, then admit I was wrong and lose my premiership.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers, I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.